a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. It's plain and simple, dear. I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love wasn't ever a game. I lay it's perfect.
Somebody who deserves it. If you put the work in, you can earn it. You and me together could be perfect. Put the work in, cause I'm worth it. And I think I found somebody who deserves it. If you put the work in, you can earn it. Got the kind of body that I wanna put my body on.
Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, don't stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, don't stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, don't stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, don't stop till it's perfect. How could you do that to me? You got me bouncing off the walls while I can't breathe. Foreshadowing you're so fucking lonely. Alone, alone, alone. So fucking lonely. Foreshadowing you're so fucking lonely.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior, folks. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. Sorry about the delay. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Sorry about that. Well, we got it. We got there. We're here. Good to see you too, Winnie Rose. Finally, some good content. Welcome, Eager, Sammy, Michael Hassler, Heat. Hey, how's it going? BB, how's it going? So good to see you, Heat. My Mouselander. How are you doing? Oh, I'm yeah, so in the midst of all of this stuff, we have in the midst of me trying to get this stream going, it appears that Dan Anonymously, welcome. It appears that the student loans are hitting, and let me tell you, the news that we got is not great. The news that we got is not great. So basically, our payments, and I'm sure like this is going to be the case across the board for a lot of people who are going to experience this. Our payment went from roughly about $80 to just shy of $500, or just shy of $600. So let that sink in. Our payments went from about $80 to just shy of $600. Is liberated from believing we are winning. That's the true liberation, okay? Anybody else feel liberated? I'm very liberated. I'm liberated out of savings. I'm liberated out of the whatever. Yeah, liberated of money. Yeah, whatever money that we earn has been liberated per month. That is per month. That's not. That is per month. So yeah, all your coin are belong to us. Caught that reference. Glad I never had student loans because I didn't go post secondary. That's why we get along. Ha, true. Just got really good at IT really fast. But yeah, so that's the update that's been happening. Very cool stuff happening. You know, and again, I can't be the only one that the only I can't we can't be the only ones experiencing this. So can you imagine on the scale it out and zoom out how tens of thousands, if not millions of people are going to absorb this blow? Not to mention the tariffs that are about to start hitting, which will increase prices. I mean, like the whole like economic situation is going to go really south really fast. Everyone just has spare $500 to spend, right? Yeah, I mean, like, it's not. It sucks. Okay, it is a 1-2 punch because as well because overdraft fees just got uncapped. Yep. Seriously, bro, speedrunning the upset of the world economy. Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. That's what's been happening. Moanep, welcome. Good for Gabby, welcome. Yeah, now imagine that on a monthly basis. Now imagine that because it's true, Eager. It's true. Now imagine that on a monthly basis. Oh man. Fantastic. Fantastic. At least Mr. Orange is getting tired of his plaything, muskox. Meanwhile, Mr. Orange is golfing. Yep. It's what's been happening as a father. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Okay, I'm mad. Yeah. I count my blessings every single day to be in a financial position that I am, but I got really lucky. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not, it sucks, okay? It sucks. I might move to Wisconsin if they have legal weed. I'm just me. Welcome. Evening. All right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the Twitch crowd. Thank you for being here. If you haven't done so already, please hit that follow button. Spread the word. We're here Monday through Thursday. Today is basically Friday, folks. Friday, essentially, for the stream anyways. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. One of the best ways of supporting the channel, by the way, and this is a huge help, is to spread the word. Bring a friend. Spread the word. We're here Monday through Thursday, roughly about 5 p.m. Sorry, sometimes it does take me a minute to get stuff going, but around 5 p.m. I appreciate you guys. Spread the word, bring a friend, and if you want to support the channel directly, there are a couple of ways of doing so. Consider checking out the merch store, hitting that exclamation mark tip button, subscribe to the Substack, join the Discord. We're actually going to do a movie event pretty soon. Pretty soon we're going to do a movie event, so check that out. Once I kind of get it together, I will do a post. I got into investing when I was 17, moved out of my dad's place during high school and worked at a local computer store, moved up since then. Nice. It is, however, illegal. It is, however, legal to buy an election. True. No, weed. No legal weed, but, you know, at least you can buy an election. I'm gonna lean more like if we do one of those Val Kilmer movies, I'm gonna lean towards Willow. I put that one in the queue. So if we do the Val Kilmer, I vote for Willow simply because I've never seen it. Can ADT and I borrow $500 each a month? Yeah, just a small loan of $500 monthly, please, for the next whatever 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I don't know. I'll feel the need for Willow. For sure, for 48% interest approved. All right. Sounds like a deal to me. Top Gun. I don't know. Top Gun is okay. Maybe it's because I've seen it one too many times. But yeah. Most of my money is in the stupid effing house and the stupid effing car. We can always do a poll in the Discord. Sure, I mean, I just want to like run through the cycle, right? We have Schindler's List, and we have Willow as one of the other options. We can do a double feature, or we can do one next week and one the following week. You know, doesn't have to be an either or. It doesn't have to be an either or. There's also toxic masculinity at its finest. I mean, like, maybe that's why I just, like, never got into it. Schindler's List is a must-see at some point. That's true. But why not? ¿Por qué no los dos? We can do Schindler's List, and then the next week we can do Willow, and then the next week we can do another movie just to kind of catch up on the list. But yeah, we can just kind of do one weekend where we just do like a double feature, like Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is a rough watch, but you have to see it. Never heard of it, never seen it. It is politically relevant. That's kind of why I immediately jumped on it on the movie suggestions. I think I even said the same thing. Pretty sure I said the same thing. For those of you who do not speak Spanish, that meant why not los dos? True. I speak English, French, and Korean, so foreign films are fine by me. My partner and I are planning a Schindler's List rewatch very soon, actually. Well, there you go. All right, folks, let's get started. It's a tough watch, but my girlfriend and I watched it recently. It is, yeah, it's a tough watch because it's real.
I'm not going to lie. I like some of Trump's policies, and that's the reason why I voted for him. But did I know it was going to threaten America? The America that I keep safe every day?
America's airport security has been thrown into chaos.
I did not expect the guy that said he was going to do all the things that he said he was going to do. I can't believe it. Exactly. He said he was going to do all of these things. Correct. No walls, just God. We have a Holocaust denier in our circle. Oof. Oof.
The Trump administration is ending collective bargaining for more than 50,000 TSA workers across the country.
Pro-union president, by the way. Like, unbelievable how, like, the UAW just kind of, like, about-faced, like, with this whole thing.
According
Like, over, like, the most ridiculous thing.
to TSA officers, the consequences could be deadly.
With this current administration, I was expecting it to bring order. You know? To me, it's just brought chaos.
In March, without warning,
What did you think his first administration was? True, we don't need no TSA. It's fine. If you use Reddit, there's an amazing subreddit. Not pro-union, but pruning the working class. There you go. I honestly, I barely touch Reddit. Probably underrated, but like I barely touch Reddit. I'll be honest. Yeah, only double feature with something light and fluffy. Seriously, because I don't. Oof, I don't know, man. Schindler's List on top of like another way too close to home movie. No. Just Schindler's List and then Transformers. That's the move.
Department of Homeland Security illegally ripped up the TSA's union contract.
These are the people responsible for staffing the airport, making sure things like weapons and explosives don't make their way through security.
We're going to see terrorist attacks. We're going to see vulnerabilities that should never, ever exist ever again.
Experts say this is part of a bigger plan, detailed in Project 2025, to cut staff, slow down security lines, and let the system fail.
They're using the keyword privatization to say, hey, we're cutting the fat, we're cutting TSA, but I think there's ulterior motives.
It's nice to turn their brain off. Yeah, Transformers is that movie. I just turned it on the other day, but my kid wasn't amused. Not even by Bumblebee? No. I mean, like, it occasionally shows up on, you know, those digital channels that you get with, like, Roku TV or Samsung TV. It sometimes comes on, and, yeah. It's entertaining. That's about as much as I can say. That was the only selling point to her. Transformers 1, Linkin Park playing loud during the big robot fights. It allows me to just consume slop and not think. True.
We spoke with airport security officers and flight attendants to understand the impact of Trump's unprecedented move against the TSA union and what it could mean for air travel and workers across the country.
Roll out.
I've been flying for about...
Hey, also, like, yeah, I think the bigger point or the broader, like, conversation is just, like, what this means for the working class and what this means for unions, right?
5 years on 9/11, and it was the flight that I flew quite frequently, Flight 175, that you can picture slamming into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. After that happened, we were gathered together trying to make sense of what had just happened. And there was a big sign on the door that said, "Never forget." And I thought, who the hell is ever going to forget this?
Sarah Nelson has been a flight attendant for nearly 30 years. She also represents flight attendants across the industry as president of the American Flight.
The Letter Hack, welcome. Folks, go check out The Letter Hack. Myself and my father-in-law have our pilot's license, never flown as a job, though. That's actually pretty cool.
Attendants Association.
I think I remember you saying that.
My good friends who died on 9/11, which is why the TSA was formalized. When they died, there was private security going to the lowest bidder at all of our airports, none of it connected to anything else.
The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, was created to standardize and strengthen airport security nationwide.
For the first time, airport security will become a direct federal responsibility.
Federalizing the workforce, making this a professional job, and connecting to all of our other intelligence agencies immediately made security better and plugged the holes that cost us more than 3,000 lives.
For the first decade of its existence, TSA workers had no union, no contract, no collective voice.
We knew that we had to work with those workers to gain the right to organize.
Workers unionized with the American Federation of Government Employees in 2011 and agreed to a first contract a year later.
When someone is in a high-pressure situation doing security work, but they're trying to move people through so they can get to their flights, so they can spend money in the airport, there's a lot of pressure to let things go. And with that union, they were able to raise their hand and say, we got to slow things down. We have to make things a little less convenient for people in order.
Police are fascists. I don't disagree. Curious George jump scare.
And once they got their union, we had that added security.
In 2023, TSA workers were able to secure a much-needed pay raise of 30%, a huge win for a group that once said they'd make more money working at a sandwich shop.
This week, TSA's workforce of 60,000 will get their first substantial pay raise since the agency was created in 2001.
The contract that they just negotiated with pay and benefits and security that
No wonder they manhandle you. I travel for work often, and the shit that gets missed is astonishing.
makes it a career job, finally stopped the attrition that had people running out the door before, so that you have not only a professional workforce that's well-trained and connected to the rest of the country and to all of our intelligence, but also people who want to stay there because it's a good job.
The attrition rate fell by nearly 50% after the new contract was signed, but now, all of those gains are in jeopardy. Bobby, a former Marine, has worked as a TSA baggage officer at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport for nearly 15 years.
I've seen everything in a bag, from dead gerbils in a bag to a kitchen sink.
What? Bernie Sanders combs his hair with a balloon. True. This is a provable fact. I get flagged every time I fly because I have a hyphenated last name. That's a 2 lines code to fix. I've emailed Air Canada and WestJet about this. As an adolescent girl, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, you name it, I've seen it. I've opened a bag where it was a garbage bag and there was meat full of maggots. As a passenger, do you want those maggots getting loose under the plane and getting in your bag? What I like about my job is I protect America. You know, I love protecting America. I love the people that I interact with, you know, because I'm a people person. People think it's a benign job, but it's an important job. If I have any suspicion at all, I check that bag because lives are at stake. It's not just a bag. That bag represents a life. What this current administration has done, and they literally took away our bargaining rights. We signed a 7-year contract in good faith. They think the union's a bad thing. We're not telling them how to do their job. We're just making our life more comfortable, and they can concentrate on the security of people.
Since the Trump administration's announcement to dissolve the TSA union, Bobby has noticed major shifts among his coworkers.
The morale has gone down quite significantly because people are unsure about their jobs. People people are thinking, how am I going to support my family?
The employees are scared, they're mad, they're upset. The workforce is continuously calling me what's really going on, because this was such an illegal action taken by the agency. I compare it to when you making mortgage payments and the bank decides, you know what, we're going to foreclose on your house, even though you've been making the payments, just so we can make more money because your house is worth double than it was before. And it's going to cause a lot of problems in the workplace. And believe you me, the worst thing that can happen is having confusion in the workplace.
Johnny Jones has worked at Dallas-Fort Worth alongside Bobby since the TSA was formed in the aftermath of 9/11. He says TSA agents are facing the worst conditions since the agency was created.
Go in there and try to put a day off or change your vacation and see what happens today. You don't have that consistency, it's gone. It's all gone. That's because it's not guaranteed any longer. It was in your contract, but now it's gone. When you have confusion, people make mistakes. When people are not being able to stay focused, maybe they make a mistake while they're screening a bag and something happens.
But the officers we spoke to are even more worried about what could happen if the court...
Wait till they all end up Elon employees. We are super toasted. True. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the chat history and, yeah.
It's actually allow the Trump administration to end their contract, opening the door for mass layoffs.
The next thing would be to privatize the workforce, because when they cut the staff, the lines get long. All of a sudden they're going to say, well, guess what? The TSOs can't do the job anymore. Let's privatize it. And now they're trying to bring it to fruition.
Contained in Project 2025, the Trump administration's unofficial playbook, is a two-step plan for the TSA. Step 1, deunionize immediately.
I think that's the important part, right? The deunionization.
Step 2, privatizing TSA screening. And in late March, Republicans introduced a measure to privatize the TSA.
I'll guarantee you I'll be driving. I won't fly if it's private, because that person will make me unsafe. We get vetted, we get vetted hard. And they're gonna find the cheapest labor they can to take it over, because it's about the bottom dollar. If you get rid of the workforce, TSA, you're gonna get rid of
That's freaking sad.
a lot of experience.
I'm sorry to hear that, Igor.
It's over time.
When you're traveling with your family and you see a TSA officer, you know that that's a federal employee doing the job to uphold the Constitution and to protect your family to get to your destination.
TSA workers believe that if the Trump administration's attack on their union isn't blocked, it will set the stage for a war on workers' rights at large. Their fears turned into reality when Trump signed an executive order to end union rights for federal workers.
This is PATCO on steroids.
In 1981, 13,000 members of the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, or PATCO, went on strike for better conditions. President Reagan gave them an ultimatum: return to work or be fired.
Congress passed a law forbidding strikes by government employees against the public safety. It is for this reason that I must tell those who fail to report for duty this morning, they are in violation of the law, and if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated.
When the striking air traffic controllers stood their ground, he fired them all. Reagan considered privatizing the FAA, but ultimately decided against it.
When President Reagan fired the air traffic controllers who were out on strike fighting for decent pay, for a 32-hour work week, for a good life in return for their service to our country, he sent a message to the rest of corporate America that it was open season on unions. So corporations went out and fought, and today
that was the
there's
beginning
less
of the
than
end.
6% of the private sector that's unionized.
True. Man, how much garbage can we roll back to Reagan and Daddy Bush? And there's another one. But yeah, basically. And Nixon. Echo Wrestler Dragon, welcome. Anybody got sign ideas for Saturday? I mean, I had mine. Mine said Elon Musk is not our president. Or nobody voted for Elon Musk. And Donald Trump is staging a coup on the other side. But if Chad has any ideas,
We've got to rush to the sides of government workers like we failed to do in 1981.
The Flight Attendants Union and AFGE, which represents TSA workers, have sued the Trump administration.
The goal of the lawsuit is to stop the agency's illegal action.
Hopefully with this lawsuit, we get an injunction and we could depend on AFGE again. It will help people be more secure, do not go to bed and losing sleep over the fact they might lose their job at any minute.
When the court process has run its course, we have to be willing to do whatever it takes in order to defend these collective bargaining rights, in order to defend working people's rights. But it's also about pushing back against this idea that union contracts can just be canceled from one day to the next.
right, that's kind of like the crux of it, really. Like, at least in my opinion, I think that's like the important freaking like part of this. It's not just the safety of you flying, it's the safety of employees. It's effing disgusting. True. Reagan, yes, the racist, homophobic, polluter, and millionaire bribe recipient, war criminal, thankfully dead guy. True.
I voted for Trump, but was my decision the right decision? I have to live with that every day.
Yeah, man. You do. I'm glad. I'm glad that freaking sunk in. Okay, this is the exception. Okay, not the rule of a lot of these Trump people. Okay, but like, yeah, man, you are going to have to live with that every day. Okay.
I have a sense of pride in me where, I served this country and I served the country helping protecting America, There hadn't been a plane to go down since 9/11. I take pride in that. We're all about legacy in this world. We want to leave something behind. We're not making things better. We're going backwards. And I hate that, all because of money.
Yeah, man. It's almost like we've been telling you this for years. Yikes. The crew needs to rest. Rules are getting thrown out. Oof. Every time I go to New York for work, I visit Ground Zero. Capitalism, man. Nurses don't get enough rest either. Both seem like bad ideas. Yeah. Yeah. I know this because my sister is a nurse. And it's bad. It's bad, man. It's bad. It's bad. Jet, welcome. I finally made it before it ends. You did. But yeah, I mean, like, seriously, the nurse situation is freaking dire, man. The nurse situation is dire. Like, she actually stopped being a nurse because she couldn't take it anymore. She's now working in other aspects of the healthcare industry, but like, she literally could not take it anymore. There was only so many like back to back 12-hour shifts with no break that she could handle before before she couldn't do it anymore. The thing is, as a nurse household, they want to help people, and that's why they got into the field. Correct. It's a woman-dominated field, so it's a low-paying, exploitative one, like teaching. It's been bad, it's beyond awful now. Yeah. No doubt. Heat is right. Usually. Heat does not miss. My mother-in-law retired and my girlfriend is getting out to run a private practice with a few of her friends. Yeah, I mean, like, but being in the front lines, I mean, I'm sure that they've probably told you, or you probably know, like, the situation, but, like, being in the front lines is horrible. It's horrible. Like, being an ER nurse, being, like, just a general, like, RN in the hospital. Like it's bad. It's bad.
Caroline Levitt, Press Secretary Caroline Levitt, this is at the White House press briefing, is asked by a reporter about the case of the Salvadoran man, Kilmar Garcia. Garcia was the individual who was basically taken from Maryland. I think that's where he was. He came to the United States when he was 16 years old. He was fleeing gang violence in El Salvador, so to send him back there is especially cruel. The administration claimed that he was a leader of MS-13,
which was proven to be like not real, not true, I should say. She likes math lots. I might sneak her in a buddy's firm as a data scientist. Pro tip: anyone looking for work, learn R.
This is not what any of the records of this man say is true. They basically made it up. JD Vance tweeted it out and then had to fact check himself as he thought he was dunking on a reporter, just to show the level of seriousness with which this administration is engaging with just destroying people's lives here. But here she is being asked about this case.
Right, sure. Thanks, Caroline. A few questions about this deportation case. First, I wanted to clarify something that you said to Jeff a few minutes ago. You said you'd seen evidence that this man was a convicted gang member. In what court was he convicted and for what?
This individual was an MS-13 ringleader. This individual was also engaged in human trafficking.
Man, that didn't take long. I'm so glad that we can just be honest, right? I'm so freaking glad that all it takes is a couple of messages to break, right? To break the mask off. Because this was a long time coming based on your chat history. So, yeah. Absolute freaking clown. Jesus. That's the unholy love child of Sean Spicer and his blow-up doll. Not to kink shame anyone besides Sean Spicer, of course. Just say you can't code R without saying you can't code R. This is just a troll. Disregard and move on. I had to get their nerves up, I guess. Yeah, it eventually happens. Okay, it eventually happens. The mask comes off. At some point or another, right? Like it's the veneer only lasts so long. Right, we've been scoping this guy for a minute and a half. I guess they haven't, messaged in a while, but eventually. That's too funny. The mask comes off eventually. Let's get back to the news. True. Jeez, people.
And I'm glad you brought up this point again, because I would like to point out that if you just saw the headline from the insane failing Atlantic magazine this morning, you would think this individual was Father of the Year, living in Maryland, living a peaceful life, when that couldn't be further from the truth. They didn't even mention in the title of that article, or even in the first paragraph, that this individual is an illegal criminal who broke our nation's immigration laws. He is a leader in the brutal MS-13 gang, and he is involved in human trafficking, and now MS-13 is a designated foreign terrorist organization. Foreign terrorists have no legal protections in the United States of America.
Look, since they didn't do the sound drop, I did it, okay? Yeah, you're gonna need to send it to me directly. So just to be clear, it's just a programming language for statistics. That's what they're talking about. What do you have as an illegal criminal? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. Okay, they're just... Look, all you need to know is that he's a scary brown person, okay? Yeah, the Twitch DMs. All you need to know is that he's a scary brown person, okay? And he did a crime, okay? Is it proven in court? Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? Nope, there was no case to prove it. But yeah, he's a scary brown person that came from the scary brown country. So he needs to go. Everything his press secretary says is further from the truth. Yep. Under current administration, an illegal is anyone who doesn't get sunburned and no longer has due process. Right. The crime was that he wasn't white. Anyways.
And this administration is going to continue to deport foreign terrorists and illegal criminals from our nation's interior.
But a judge ordered that he should remain in this country. So are you saying that it is okay to ignore a judge's ruling if you don't like it?
Who does that judge work for?
He's an immigration
It was an
judge.
immigration judge who works for the Department of Justice at the direction of the Attorney General of the United States, whose name is Pam Bondi, who has committed to eradicating MS-13 from our nation's interior. And let me tell you why we've made this commitment. MS-13, may I remind each and every one of you, is a brutal and vicious gang. They raped and strangled a 20-year-old autistic woman to death in Maryland. They hacked 4...
Wait a minute, but he didn't do any of that. He didn't do any of that. And I thought the problem was Trendaragua. I thought the problem why we eliminated due process was Trendaragua was doing asymmetrical warfare against the United States. Okay? Now we're talking about MS-13, a US-made gang. MS-13 originated in US prison system. In the US prison system. Okay? MS-13 got a government funding. Why is no one knowing this? Actually, yeah, weren't they like part of like the CIA like push in the 80s to perpetuate like drugs? When a clown enters a palace, he won't be the king. The palace becomes a circus. True. My father-in-law is from Singapore. Is he DEI? To these people, probably. Trendaragua is the new MS-13? Correct. Congratulations to drugs for winning the war on drugs. It will always shift to a new group when they get called out. True. Why is MSM not covering this? Oh, money. Right.
People to death with machetes in a park on Long Island. They have kidnapped, sexually tortured...
This is an appeal to emotion because, like, this guy that was literally put away in a concentration camp, that was put away in a concentration camp. So, God knows if they'll ever release this guy. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen to that guy? Who knows if that guy will even survive? Because he's not a freaking criminal gang member. The reason why he was trying to seek asylum here is because he was being persecuted by said gangs. So the likelihood that this guy is going to probably or possibly be targeted in this prison is high. So who knows if that guy is even ever going to come home. By the way, where did the trans narrative go? By the way, they lost that one, so now it's MS-13. I mean, you can they haven't quite forgotten about the trans narrative yet. So no, it's still there. It's just not as like out there because more and more people are just like tired of these snowflakes whining about trans people, and more people are realizing that like trans people like are just, I don't know, people, and trans people are literally just existing. That's it. And as it turns out, as it turns out, they're not predators. As it turns out, they're just normal human beings. So yeah, it's kind of went away, like, not went away, but like it's kind of like going the way of the gay panic, the gay satanic panic or whatever. Like eventually people are just gonna stop buying the nonsense. Only like the really far right people are like still like really, really on the whole like trans thing, the whole like anti-trans thing. Canada announces it will build a coalition of countries who share their values to build their economy and trade opportunities. Cool. Go Canada. Trans MS-13 members overrunning our prisons. True. I never know where they're going to fall with the whole autism thing. Will it be a victim? Will it be an excuse for some douchebag? Or will they start putting us on lists like they do with everything else? I mean, if history teaches us anything, they do love their lists. They do love their lists. But make no mistake about it, like, they haven't forgotten about like the whole anti-trans stuff. It's just not as like up as it was maybe like a little while ago.
Tortured and shot a teenage girl in Texas after
None of this is
insulted.
Like the important part right now, at least for now, just to kind of get the public on the side of the fascist regime, is to fearmonger about the scary brown people killing people with machetes and torturing people. But don't worry, they won't forget about trans people. You're going into the camps too. Okay? Should they get their wish? Yeah, don't worry. They absolutely will not forget. The trans issue was sold 3 episodes ago. They need to find another marginalized group to send to the camps and fearmonger more. Yeah, but like the vehicle right now is like this whole like immigration stuff. The vehicle to all of this right now is like this immigration stuff. Trans becoming the current thing when there's a high profile trans athlete or trans person commits violence. Yeah, maybe, but like, you know, it's like more and more people are just like, okay, I don't care. Okay, and I don't care, and neither do you. Okay, when was the last time conservatives actually really gave a crap about like women's sports? Okay, seriously, they don't. Okay, they are inherently like misogynistic just by the ideology. They do not care about women's sport, and that's very, very apparent. So yeah, that kind of just like it just falls apart. At least just for like selling the fascist regime to the normies. They can always fall back on hurting brown people. True. Child labor laws are being abolished to get their labor issues fixed after the deportations. Yep, that's what Florida was proposing. Yes. Bill Burr had a great line about women's sport, then watched him. Yeah, but they won't. Like, exactly, Eager. They won't. They don't care about freaking women's sports. You know, like the whole freaking Lady Ballers, whatever, the Daily Wire garbage was like they were just mocking women's sports. And it's like, dude, you don't actually care about women's sports. You just want to be a hateful asshole to a marginalized community, while also being like, oh, cool, we can do a catch-all and just be like assholes to women too. Right, like just a broad anti like woman in a sentiment, just all wrapped into one. I often loved the Professional Women's Hockey League. I don't watch a lot of sports in general. We're so crazy. We're crazy. Bess will be sent to psychiatric care facilities for treatment. True. A thing that, by the way, they would be absolutely, they've absolutely talked about. I mean, they call it, what? I forget the name that they call it. Conversion therapy. They'll call it conversion therapy or whatever. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just like elimination. And they're not shy about it. They're not shy about it. I mean, the patriarchy, true. Wife is acting up. Send her to the loony bin. Yeah, like in the good old days, right? Like in the good old days. In the 50s? No. Anyways, there was a time where you could literally do that, by the way. That's not a joke. That like you could literally do that. You can say that your wife is just not acting right or whatever and just throw her in her loony bin. Like actually, unironically, that was a thing.
Relevant. Okay, got it. Every immigrant is implicated in the death of Laken Riley, apparently, according to Stephen Miller in this administration. This man, because he is from El Salvador and was literally fleeing the gang that they're claiming he was a part of, is implicated in their crimes apparently as well, and that he's not this father of the year. Where is she getting this from? And by the way, check in with the rest of the administration before you go out there on a limb, because they have already admitted that this was an error, but they're just like winking and saying, too bad, we can't get him back. We defied a court order and said we couldn't turn the plane around. The court was saying, hey, these folks need due process. We need to determine whether they are who you say they are, which includes violent criminals and gang members. Hey, turn this plane around. And they said, the plane's already in the air. We've got like maritime law, sky law.
Yeah, ice pick lobotomies. Maybe Laken Riley and Ashley Babbitt should have complied. They're going to try to bring that back. Make America man again, mama. The concept of due process has roots in the Magna Carta, but its most modern form, as enshrined by the Constitution, emerged with the adoption of the 5th and 14th Amendment, with the 14th Amendment being adopted in 1868. BRB, gotta eat. Enjoy!
Just a middle finger to the courts.
Then Levitt knows when she says he is a criminal illegal, what she means is to make the civil infraction of, saying, overstaying a visa or whatever, coming into this country in undocumented, as a crime. It's not.
Oh, dude, that was a cool kill. I hit his arm because I...
What? I ate all I ate today was pizza bread because I was throwing up this morning. Oof. That's rough. Kirsten Sinema's replacement, Ruben Gallego, voted yes on the Laken Riley Act. By the way, we're doing great in AZ, promise. Oof. Yikes. If they already said it was a mistake, why didn't the media ask her about that after she made an ass out of herself? You can blame the media for that one. Like, seriously. Seriously. Abdication of duty right there.
Abrego Garcia, the Baltimore Banner, writes, was a unionized sheet metal worker trying to advance his career by enrolling in a college course to obtain a professional license, according to CASA's statement issued Tuesday. The family was also seeking specialized care for their autistic nonverbal son, who was on a waiting list at the Children's Hospital. Here is a report from CBS this morning interviewing his wife. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Russ.
She also says in that clip that the immigration judge who issued the ruling that he should not be deported works for the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, which
right.
Basic civics would tell you that that's not the case.
That they are attempting to beat the entire judicial system into submission. They're doing this by going after private, well-connected law firms and also by targeting judges politically. Thankfully, when it comes to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, we had a great result last night. But like on this issue, they are exploiting the destruction of our fundamental civil rights that really began in this iteration in the post 9/11 world during the war on terror.
Yep, and it's not going to stop, folks. Okay, it's not going to stop. Okay, it's not going. You putting minorities under the bus. It's not going to stop them from taking away rights from you. Okay, shut up, new guy. You know, you throwing brown people under the bus is not going to stop them from taking your rights away too. You throwing gay people, trans people under the bus is not going to protect you. Is not going to protect you from being thrown from being your rights being taken away. So yeah. Targeting judges politically. Imagine targeting someone politically. That's happened to you. Any ideas, anybody? Yeah, you mean like how Trump has targeted political opponents. Oh, we got a live one in chat. Yeah, leopards don't care whose faces they eat. Correct. Right. So yeah, like this is like how Trump was targeted. No, he wasn't targeted. He's a fucking criminal, dude. Have you forgotten that? Nope. I just live in reality. Look, I saw you in the Majority Report chat, okay? And let me tell you, you're not going to last long here, so you might as well fuck off. Okay? I saw you in the Majority Report chat. This is why nobody takes you seriously. True. Fuck off. Oh, they targeted Trump. They targeted Trump. Have you forgotten? Yeah, dude, he was a freaking criminal, man. Like, imagine thinking that, like, actually going through, like, the process because you were committing fraud is being targeted, is being politically targeted. Like, imagine, if you will. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have broken the law. Like, it's just, I don't have time for this. I really don't. I saw them in the Majority Report chat, like, glazing Elon Musk and just saying absolute freaking nonsense. No.
Including the classifications of people broadly as terrorists, to give them no due process, to rip them away from their families. And they're pairing that with our purposefully burdensome immigration system that doesn't give folks like Kilmer.
Also, like, Trump is literally talking about the Republican Party is literally talking about going after political opponents. Trump has talked about going after political opponents, like, legally, like getting the DOJ after them, like, repeatedly, right? Every accusation with these people is just a confession. Close his door to the echo chamber. We're good. I wonder who else went after their opposers.
Yeah, and his
literally any fascistic regime has literally that's the first people to go, right? I think somebody mentioned it earlier in chat. First they came for the communists. Like literally, like every fascistic regime or fascist regime has always started by taking out political opponents first, because that's who's opposing them.
His family the ability to get permanent citizenship status because the Republicans are so nativist, and because, frankly, there's a whole class of our economy that benefits from a lot of folks not being under, in secret, living their lives here so they can steal their wages. Wage theft is one of the biggest forms of theft in this country. They can pay them sub-minimum wage. They can use deportation as a threat if they speak up about workplace abuse. That's part of this whole here. But here is his wife talking about who this man actually is.
Waited and waited. He never made that call.
Jennifer says when her husband, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was detained and mistakenly deported by immigration authorities in March, he told her he could be sent to Secot, the notorious Salvadorian prison.
Quad Bennett, Ladybug, welcome. When I worked for the police, I worked in AI content, detecting AI content. The Daily Wire failing. I heard about that. Are they really, like, going out of business? Because that would make my day. Only we should watch your fascism. Exactly.
I was scared. I was very scared.
Why?
Because I've seen news of that prison, and I knew they take criminals there, and my husband's not a criminal.
Abrego Garcia was granted legal status protecting him from deportation back to El Salvador in 2019 because of safety concerns in his home country. Jennifer says he continued to check in with immigration officials until he was stopped by ICE on March 12 in Maryland.
Just days later, Jennifer saw this photo of Abrego Garcia inside Sukkot.
When I saw it, I immediately broke down because I knew it was him.
What was your biggest fear when you identified him?
I was scared for his life.
In court documents filed Monday, the government said,
Hazemaker, welcome. Intentional. I think so, man. I think so. Trump 1,000%, 1,000,000% use AI to create his new tariffs. He tariffed an island that had nobody on them. Yeah, I think so.
although ICE was aware of his protection from removal, Abrego Garcia was removed to El Salvador because of an administrative error. Now that he's out of the country, officials say they have no jurisdiction to bring him back.
The error that you are...
I couldn't imagine finding out like that. Yeah. That's frank. Imagine if, like, she never saw that. So, like, imagine if she never saw that. And was never able to, like, identify her husband. Can you, like, freaking... Like, this story would have never broke. He would have just been gone, disappeared, and nobody would know. Like, and just to be clear, for every one of these stories that the media does decide to freaking follow up on, you can guarantee that there are more than just this one guy who was accidentally yeeted into the eighth ring of hell. They know exactly who they're abducting. Yep. They have his paperwork. It's literally there. They have his name. They have his paperwork. So they absolutely know.
It was a clerical error. It was an administrative error.
The Trump administration acknowledged the mistake, but defended Abrego Garcia's deportation.
He is a leader in the brutal MS-13 gang.
A leader in the gang. That's wild, man. Like, I mean, like, in a normal and sane world, this would be like defamation lawsuit, like dunk one-on-one, like the 101, the easiest freaking defamation lawsuit. Yeah, exactly. Just wondering what happened to him forever. They can absolutely bring him back. Exactly. I agree with you. This would be an impeachment if there was any sanity left. If there was any sanity left, like, this would have been done, like, weeks ago. Like, I mean, like, months ago. I mean...
And he is involved in human trafficking.
The White House did not detail any evidence that proves those allegations. Jennifer says her husband is not a gang member, but instead just a proud father of their 5-year-old son with disabilities.
He's not a criminal. My husband is an amazing person, an amazing father.
There you go. So all of this stuff really does tie in with our police state. And during the pandemic, the bipartisan, frankly, push to be tough on crime, it also was in conjunction with the Democrats completely ceding the issue on immigration and saying, oh, you know, there's this complete epidemic of crime in our cities, right? And it didn't take long for the Republicans, who already had their base primed to believe that immigrants were criminals. Donald Trump came down that escalator in the 2016 campaign, and he immediately said, these Mexicans, they're rapists, they're criminals, and some, I assume, are good people.
And that was before the so-called invasion of like 3 or 4 years ago that people claim is warrant for this sort of shit.
Right. And so you have this toxic stew of what I mentioned before. The war on terror eroding people's civil liberties, expanding the surveillance state, the precedent of Guantanamo Bay, of giving people no due process just because you classify them as terrorists. Also, the unitary executive theory being tested under Bush that Donald Trump is now pushing to the limit, or pushing past our institution's limits, almost. The nearly decade.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average tumbled 1,679.39 or 3.9%, closed at 40,545 at its worst since session since June of 2020. About 3 trillion. Yep. Yeah, it's good. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Of Republican politics with very little opposition on the liberal side.
Carpet packs, welcome.
Of conflating immigrants and criminals. Although there was more opposition in Trump 1.0 until they ceded the issue after the first term, basically. Remember how there were protests about the Muslim ban? That kind of thing. But you see how politics are not static and you can't be ruled by poll numbers because things change when based on what politicians say and what they do. So you have that combination, and the tough on crime stuff that was being pushed by Republicans, by, frankly, the algorithms on the internet that act to elevate really bloody or content that makes people angry. That's what this has proven. And with this right-wing capture of our social media channels, it has manufactured consent for the idea that these are really some bad hombres that we need to basically mass incarcerate. And then put that with our decades of...
We're projected to lose about 4% of GDP in the first quarter. Imagine glazing Elon still. Still the thing that was happening in the Majority Report chat. This entire story is beyond upsetting. 100%. 100%. And like I said, like, that's the stuff that we know about because by some freaking like shot of luck, she was able to recognize her husband from that like fascist like propaganda video productions that they were pulling out in El Salvador. Like, I mean, that is just like so freaking sad and so freaking scary because like how many people, how many of those 300 people, 200 and something people, like they just like completely disappeared. No one knows who they are. I mean, it's sad. I'm late for a difficult truth. No, you're just in time. And with the deportations, I wonder why a lot of business in red states are crumbling right now. Trump is selling off his stock so he won't suffer.
Using gang ties and police being given broad capacity, which frankly should be illegal without evidence, because being in a gang should not be illegal. It should be the act that comes from it that can be criminalized if you do a violent act or you steal something, whatever.
Yeah, another rug pull. Another day, another con. Welcome, Kirkenstein. Looney Tunes, welcome. I'm going to say hi and lurk. I'm modding for the surf so y'all can come over when you guys finish up. No problem. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that.
But using a gang database so that they can basically round up poor black and brown people in our cities when they feel like it. This has been a long-standing practice, and it's been called racist by many civil rights organizations. Oregon had did away with it around 10 years ago. because it was something like the 60 plus 65, 70% of people in their gang database was black, and it's less than 10% of the population. Now, the right wing would say, oh, they're inherently criminal, but then we go back to this story. They're calling this man a criminal. They're saying that that gay hairdresser that they had to deport to El Salvador, to a prison
That's
labor
actually pretty
camp,
cool.
to a gulag. They're
Welcome, Narwhal. That's pretty cool, Igor.
saying he was a criminal, and then when they're forced to acknowledge it, they say it's an administrative error. So you've made an error, but you're not going to correct it. Why? Because this policy of attacking immigrants and demonizing people so they can get away with tax cuts for the rich, that takes precedence over this man's humanity. In any other situation, Donald Trump was charged over 90 charges, and he got away with it because he's rich and powerful. And he still claims to be the victim, over and over, whining about how horrible everybody has been to him. But when this man is ripped away from his
Bonzilla,
family and his
welcome.
life that he's known since he was a teenager and deported to a prison camp in the country that he was fleeing from because he was afraid of the violence there, oh, what do you know? It's an administrative error. What can we do? We're powerless all of a sudden. We're so strong and powerful to round up all these guys. But then when we made a mistake,
Gangs are a natural response to second-class citizenship. True. I'll put Lance on my phone. I've probably out-chatted my welcome here. Nah, you're good. Come on over. Sam Cedar on the PBD mentioned on the Serfs. Nice. Is this the gay barber who died in El Salvador? No, this is just a dude. Like, just a dude that was there. And he was fleeing the Salvadorian gangs and was trying to get asylum, and they deported him to El Salvador to a prison to a prison full of said gangs. So Impossible, your chats are appreciated. True. Listen to Moaneb. But yeah, this is a horrifying freaking story, man. Let me tell you, let me tell you.
well, we're completely powerless. How dare you ask us to do anything about it?
I have to say, the thing where we see 4K footage and drone footage of these prisons, but then when somebody is sent there accidentally, we're told we can't do anything about it. There should be way more alarm about what's going on. How do we know that these people are still alive and haven't been shot and put in a ditch by Bukele? There's no assurance that can be made about it.
Yeah, we have no idea. Is it just Venezuelans and Salvadorians, or is ICE going after every brown person? It basically, if you look brown enough and have like tattoos, then you are eligible to be shipped off to the concentration camp. That's effectively it, because like it doesn't matter what nationality you are. It doesn't matter. It's just like if we think, okay, without evidence, because there's no due process, if we just think and say that you're Tren de Aragua or MS-13 or whatever, then you're eligible. Nadia, welcome. How Barstool is next. Sports gambling is having cancer.
Any of that, and to the extent that like we can't find them, might as well be if they're just going to be caged forever. And the other thing about with gangs, how was gang violence solved in the LA in the 1990s? It wasn't through massive brute force cop work. It was through a truce.
Correct. When it's done, it's done. You're gone. Like Matt said, there's no assurances that you're there's no like assurances that you are going to get out of there, because like that prison that concentration camp is known for human rights abuses. And specifically with that guy, he was fleeing gangs. He was fleeing gang violence, and you just literally put him right in like the middle of it. If that guy is alive by the end of this, it will be a miracle. Bukele has likely kept it at arm's length and let the prisoners do the dirty work for him, perhaps with a wee bit of orchestration from the guards. I mean, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. And if that guy is alive, okay, by the end of any of this, it will be like an actual freaking miracle. There are assurances that you're gone forever. Too late crying emoji. Yeah, unironically, that's what that Bukele fascist tweeted. Yep. True. He was driving in his car with his child, and they stopped the car to get him out and called his wife to get her kid before he ends up in CPS. Oof.
Diplomacy between the gang members themselves. MS-13 and Tren de Aragua both originated in fucking prisons. This is not a solution to this problem. It exacerbates them. Like you don't solve gang violence by just locking up every person who can be associated with a gang. You solve gang violence by ameliorating the issues in society that cause people to look to gangs for protection and sort of like material like sort of reasons.
Benefit.
It's the same.
Yeah. Gangs, organized crime, thrive in poverty. Bonzilla with the 21 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Reason why, like, how do we solve the issue of say Palestinians looking towards Hamas? Well, what isn't helping them is the 75-year occupation and keeping them in a refugee refugee status and without a state for that long. Like, you can't solve this stuff through brute force. But all these people want to suggest.
Don't worry, the markets will soon stabilize.
That actually maybe we can. Let's just throw more bombs at the issue. Let's just throw more cages at the issue, and eventually we'll solve it. It's a fucking joke.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show.
That Sam jump scare. This whole thing is out of this world, like living in the darkest dungeon game where you go in and never come out alive. It is pretty dark. It is pretty dark. The fact that Florida almost flipped is a decent sign. Well, I mean, yeah, it shows that they've lost support there, but there may be hope. But holy F, you guys need to get out and vote. I mean, yeah, where it counts, and when you can, yes. But I can assure you that fascism is not going to be defeated only by voting. It's going to be an all hands on deck kind of deal. It's going to require everything. It is, but the pop-up Sam gets me every time. Is anyone tired of winning yet? Because I'm tired. What, you going with no torches or rations? Not much else I can do as a Canadian. We're gonna make sure this to get this effing idiot out. I'm tired, boss. Like, how did they block that? Yeah, he just hides under his desk. It's actually kind of funny. Almost endearing. I'm in a door knocking canvas for liberal candidates. I mean, getting involved directly is a good thing. Even if you are wherever you are. But yeah. So much winning, folks. I hope he's right. Market tumbles on tariff, but Trump isn't flinching. President Trump described the U.S. as a patient recovering from successful surgery. It did nothing to dissuade businesses, markets, and millions of Americans from the belief that the country is bleeding out. Americans watched in horror as their 401k plunged after markets opened, with Dow dropping nearly 1,700 points and the S&P losing 4.8% by the close on Thursday. Today, the worst single-day decline since the early days of the COVID pandemic. Nice! Stellantis announced it's laying off 900 U.S. workers at 5 domestic facilities as it pauses manufacturing at the 2 plants in Canada and Mexico. Hey, UAW, how's that working out? Yeah, so much win. I am become meme. Steve Miller's getting lazy with metaphors lately. I mean, why not, right? Like, why even bother? I had a beer with him last night. He's very passionate about the Arctic, climate change, and Canadian financial security. Nice. Are you tired of winning yet? I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss. And defense and energy industry officials voiced private fears that the tariffs would take too long to jumpstart domestic manufacturing of core components needed for their operations currently produced abroad. While Republicans have spent the last 2 months acquiescing to the president on the long list of issues, Chuck Grassley on Thursday moved to reassert congressional authority on tariffs. Grassley and Senator Maria Cantel introduced legislation which we will talk about. Senator Rand Paul, one of the Senate's most vocal opponents of tariffs, called the stock market drop a huge loss. That's not just me saying tariffs don't work. That's millions of people buying and selling stocks that are very, very concerned that tariffs are going to cause the economy to go in the wrong direction. Other Republicans were left offering lukewarm defenses of Trump's new tariffs. I hope he's right. I hope the naysayers are wrong. Well, thank you for that assurance. I'm so glad and so confident. UAW was quick to support the president. Orange now what for them? Zero. Yep, nothing. That's how it works. I mean, really, that's like so freaking disappointing, man. And I really supported freaking Sean Fain, and what he was talking about, like trying to organize a general strike in 2028 and like really trying to push union membership. Like he was doing the Lord's work, and now just to like throw it away on this because of failure to understand how this works is a shame. Is a shame. Yeah, that's true, and expect that to be the norm. Used or new, by the way. Used or new cars. These tariffs are not a joke. But the White House isn't flinching. Instead of repeating its mantra that the trade barriers will help the U.S. economy in the long run. Trump told reporters Thursday afternoon that he thought the tariffs were going very well. So well. He said the markets are going to boom. It's the markets are going to boom. Do you know how bad you need to be to get Korea and China to work with Japan? True. maybe Chet's right. Maybe I misunderstood President Trump, okay? Maybe when he said that the markets were going to boom, he meant they were going to go boom. Lee Spanner, welcome. Critical thinking is not easy for many people. It's a muscle that must be worked on. True. I hope the uneducated 8-year-old is right and I wasted thousands of dollars of years on my life, on my bachelor's. Yeah, boom is a relative term. Wolfglen, welcome. Yeah, line go really down. Implode. Yeah, more accurate. I would suggest if you do not do a year's worth of income in the bank, to stop buying anything that is not absolutely a necessity. This will be a worldwide recession and will take a long time to get out of due to Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's here. It's here. Line go bye-bye. Yeah, not even down, just done. Yeet. The Nazis have moved on from being an electoral problem and are now a military problem. I don't see a great deal of acknowledgement of this yet. I might legit do a bank run. I mean, look, not financial advice, but I think what Wolfglen was saying is extremely pertinent, like to try to kind of hunker down, essentially. Like anything that is not necessary, I mean, just like sit down and just kind of have that conversation. Gotta have money in the bank to go get it out. True. The president loves the stupid. Just statement is never is enough never to trust him. The markets are gonna boom, and that other countries have taken advantage of us for many, many years. Oh, right. I cannot give it financial advice. No, me. I can't. Not legally, right? I don't know how I'm actually joking. I have no idea what the parameters are. But yeah. Top administration officials, Vice President J.D. Vance, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt made rounds on television morning before the markets opened to assure the American people that everything was fine and to trust the president. As it turns out, everything was not fine. Don't worry, nobody's taking any advice from chat. True. My paychecks are going to a U.S. bank via direct deposit, and I'm hanging around Berlin and Zurich. I may end up in trouble. Oof. RFK says programs are cut that shouldn't have been, and people were fired that should still be working. Yeah. I was just reading that not that long ago before I started stream. We're fighting as quickly as we can to fix what was left to us, Vance said on Fox and Friends, but it's not going to happen immediately. I mean, but you know, the stock market tumbling happened pretty immediately. But there was one clear point of divergence in the White House messaging: whether the president is receptive to deal making with its trading partners, as administration officials, members of Congress, and even the president's own son offered conflicting views on whether they might cut deals to drop some of the levies. A White House official, during a call previewing the tariffs on Wednesday, insisted that the policy was not negotiation; it was a national emergency, a point Lutnick underscored during a Thursday interview. So that's cool. I don't think there's any chance President Trump is going to back off these tariffs. This was a reordering of global trade. Buckle up, folks. I'm amazed he admitted it. Yeah, I mean, did you see the children's hockey brawl? That shit was hilarious. No, I did not. Biden will go down as a decent president. In my opinion, history will be kind to him. Same with my boy Justin Trudeau. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, if you want to compare, like, I don't know, Biden's presidency versus Trump's, then, like, yeah, it might actually make Biden look good. But, like, I don't know. There's much. I honestly, I don't care. I'll be honest. The rest of the world wants to see, is there any way we can make a deal? Trump told reporters before leaving office at the White House afternoon. One lobbyist closest to the administration granted anonymity to discuss internal deliberations at the White House was adamant there'd be no exemptions. No exemptions. Biden will go down as a president who disappeared people so hard that Trump won again. I just want to scream. We went in there to try to plead our case, so these are the lobbyists saying, can we please get an exception, pretty please, because, tariffs are so good that they're literally lobbying for exemptions. But yeah, so this is very cool, very awesome. I'm sure this will have no negative effects on the economy. I'm sure everybody's going to be fine. Buckle up, folks. It's about to get really freaking bad. Entire U.S. Democrats fumbled the easiest win twice. Yeah, I mean, you gotta freaking wonder, right? You gotta wonder. U.S. companies, especially automakers, will beg for tariff exemptions. They'll give Trump whatever he wants for the exemption. It's extortion. Also, this kind of goes back to, why the UAW would even support this crap. This is so freaking infuriating. I'm still stuck on that, line of thinking. Democrats in your country are such effing losers, minus a few are finally now speaking out. True. True. If this empire is going to fall, I hope we can take that opportunity like what Syria is doing and make it exist for and by everyone. Yeah, it really what, I don't care, honestly. If this is the end of, if this is the end of America as we know it, I don't care. I care about the people. I care about how this is going to affect hundreds of millions of people, right? And how much damage, how many lives are going to be destroyed by this. I mean, on the surface level, some tariffs are good for the auto industry, but they need to ramp it up over a decade or so, not just make a sharp left on a random Wednesday. True, that the whole point is is to encourage domestic manufacturing, but you gotta have the actual infrastructure to even do this, and that takes a long time. We are not prepared for that. We don't have the ability to just be okay, well, we have domestic alternatives to offer. I mean, it's just so bad. But I agree completely, Winnie Rose. He was the first politician I actually believed in. Also, yeah, actually, I think the only politician we actually donated to. I've never donated to, I've never donated to a politician before, but I did for Bernie's campaign. He's still out there, he and AOC. Yep, the real ones. Republicans weigh using the power of Congress to rein in Trump on tariffs. Because, things are going so well. The fallout from President Trump's aggressive new tariffs has spurred Congress into action, with a growing number of Republicans joining Democrats to express interest in using their powers to restrain him. Fascinating. After the U.S. GOP led Senate delivered a rare rebuke to Trump on Wednesday by voting to undo his tariffs on Canada, lawmakers in both chambers are weighing additional steps to rein him in. Senators are eyeing other mechanisms to rescind Trump's existing tariffs while limiting his ability to impose new ones. And Democrats in the House are exploring ways to force a vote to revoke Canadian tariffs, putting out feelers to try to attract supports from Republicans. Good times, Bonzilla. Quaint. That's pretty cool, Eager. I hope they come like around here. It would be really nice to go to that to go to a Bernie rally. I hope he does his Stop the Oligarchy tour around here. These efforts have a high bar for success. As any resolution to undo Trump's tariff or new law affecting his powers would have to get around the presidential veto. But the level of support in Congress would affect the president's political calculus around using taxes on imports to the U.S. as a centerpiece of his agenda. Chuck Grassley, a Trump ally who's third in line to the presidency, introduced a bill with Maria Cantel that would reassert Congress's authority to slap restrictions on president's power to levy tariffs. The legislation act, called Trade Review Act of 2025, would require the president to notify Congress of new tariffs within 48 hours of imposition, while providing his reasons and an analysis on the impacts of American consumers and businesses. Then Congress would have 60 days to approve it. If it does not, the tariffs would expire after that period. Another way of putting it is like, dude, why? We know tariffs are inherently inflationary, right? So, yeah, unless there's like a very specific game plan as to why very specific tariffs need to be put in place. Like, I mean, whatever. Chuck Grassley, true. For too long, Congress has delegated its clear authority to regulate interstate and foreign commerce to the executive branch, said Grassley. Building on my previous efforts as Finance Committee Chairman, I'm joining Senator Cantwell to introduce Bipartisan Trade Review Act of 2025 to reassert Congress's constitutional role and ensure Congress has a voice in the trade policy. Senator Tom Tillis praised Grassley for the bill because he believes we're a co-equal branch. He said he'd vote for it, but it's unclear if the bill would be brought to the Senate floor. I'd like congressional review in trade. It's a good example. I'll support Grassley if he gets a vote. Okay. That doesn't tell me anything. There's going to be a massive economic heartbreak in this country if Congress fails to undo the tariffs, said Tim Kaine. Donald Trump started in office with the strongest economy in the world. He had in 2 months, with the chainsaw and tariffs turned into one flashing red lights and question marks. We've got to use the tools at our disposal to get him to do a U-turn. For now, partisanship had made some Republicans leery of joining Democrats in a move their base can perceive defying Trump. You have to do it in a neutral environment where you have Republicans and Democrats not being forced to choose against their own party's president in office when there's a tariff question. I mean, like, the only people that are acting this way is like the freaking cult members, dude. Like, how are you this freaking spineless, man? If you said Schumer wrote this, I would believe it. True. So there's a House version. Across the Capitol, senior House Democrats say they were looking to pass a resolution halting Canadian tariffs, similar to what the Senate voted on this week. Since Speaker Mike Johnson is reluctant to show any daylight with Trump, Democrats are exploring an end around House GOP leaders. Representative Gregory Meeks is now exploring filing of what known as a discharge petition, a legislative tool that would allow supporters to bypass GOP leaders and force a vote on legislation that if they can secure 218 signatures. Greg Meeks of New York, as head of Foreign Affairs Committee, is looking at a resolution or a discharge petition, and I'm one of those that's considering the discharge petition, said Representative Marcy Kaptur. I would vote for his resolution so we can replicate what the Senate did. Most MAGA cult members are folks in red states who have never left their country or even their state. They vote, and you need to vote because of that. That's also true. Laura Loomer. Yeah, well, we'll get to her. We'll get to her too. So that's what's happening here. Congress is now thinking about doing something because they know that this is just like an economic freaking nuke, basically. What Trump did yesterday at the Liberation Day announcement is effectively an economic nuke. And they know this. They know this. It's unclear if Trump knows this, but they do. Good thing that no squad members tried that, or they would end up being backbenchers. True. True. Trump fires 6 National Security Council officials after Oval Office meeting with Laura Loomer. So Loomer is making national security firing decisions. So that's cool. That's very cool. Hey, what kind of not clarification. What kind of credentials does she have? You 100% at AI made that bit as well. Some places he's terrifying. I have no people there. Yep. During the 30-minute meeting, far-right activists excoriated National Security Council officials in front of the president and Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor. Feels loomered. President Trump fired 6 National Security Council officials after the Signalgate, after meeting with far-right activist, sure. Laura Loomer, who laid out a list of people she believed were disloyal to the president. You know, it isn't a bit weird that for a day called Liberation Day was kind of mad. There were balloons. Where were the balloons or carnivals or crazy weirdos the likes you see in the rallies? It was such a dud. Bad showmanship. Laura Loomer's a pair of bad lip fillers that are wrapped around a certain president's appendage. I will not elaborate further. In all fairness, if Jigsaw told me to do it, I probably would. Ms. Kisiana, welcome. Democrats need to do better. The 2024 election was absolute skill issue and was sad to witness. True. The decision came after Ms. Loomer vilified the staff members by name during the meeting on Wednesday when she walked into the White House with a sheaf of papers attacking the character and loyalty of numerous National Security Council officials. Michael Waltz, the National Security Advisor, joined later in the meeting and briefly defended some of his staff, although it was clear he had little power to protect them. It was a remarkable spectacle. Ms. Loomer had floated the baseless conspiracy that the September 11 attacks were an inside job and is viewed as an extreme even by Trump's far-right allies who were apparently wielding more influence over staff of the National Security Council than Mr. Waltz, who actually runs the agency. The account of the White House meeting with Loomer and the subsequent firings is based on interviews with 8 people of knowledge of the events. They had asked for anonymity to discuss confidential meetings and conversations. Well, it can't be that confidential considering, like, Laura Loomer is not doesn't have the clearance. That's what I was trying to say earlier. To have these conversations. I thought the right had turned on Loomer already. Clearly a gap in my knowledge. They probably did for a brief moment. Liberation Day in a country with millions of prisoners could be useful in a way. It's war is peace, right? Freedom is slavery. Yeah. Laura Lunatic. Mr. Waltz was not fired, nor was one of Ms. Loomer's top targets, the Deputy National Security Advisor Alex Wong. Apart from the firing, several other officials who had been detailed to the council were reassigned back to their home agencies over the weekend, even before the White House meeting. Ms. Loomer reached by phone, declined to comment. After the New York Times reported on the details of the meeting, she confirmed on Twitter that she had attended the meeting but would not provide details. The White House spokesman did not respond to an email seeking comment, and the National Security Council officials said they would not comment on personal matters. Ms. Loomer had been a part of the group effort by some Trump allies to disparage members of the White House staff whom they considered too hawkish, too eager to commit American troops around the world, and fundamentally at odds with Trump's, quote, America First foreign policy. The agitators have used the phrase neocon, short for neoconservative, to describe many of the staff members working for Waltz. The roughly 30-minute meeting with Laura Loomer, attended by Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior officials, including Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Head of Personal Office Sergio Gore, Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and whose brother died on the September 11 attacks. She probably wanted him gone because of the surname, probably. Had top secret clearance during the effing war. My stepdad was captured by the Taliban. He was a major general, and I was not allowed to go to Afghanistan because my mom and I were targets. Jesus. A spokesman for Lutnick did not immediately respond to a message seeking comment. Ms. Loomer, who was seated directly across the desk from the president, also in attendance was Representative Scott Perry, a Pennsylvania Republican who was Trump's biggest allies in his efforts to overturn the election. I mean, like, just a fantastic freaking cast of characters over here. Ms. Perry brought a separate list. Mr. Perry brought a separate list of staff concerns he wanted to discuss with the president, and his planned meeting with Trump collided with Ms. Loomer's, one of the people briefed with the event said. Mr. Perry did not respond to a text message seeking comment. It is unclear what the firings mean for Mr. Waltz, who had a tenuous hold on his jaw. Mr. Trump has so far declined to terminate Mr. Waltz as he inadvertently invited the Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, into a Signal chat where they discussed top secret information. It was classified information, and absolutely they should not have been using Signal at all, regardless. But anyways, shared sensitive details about the forthcoming military strikes against Houthi terrorists. The senior officials who have discussed Waltz privately with the president say that Mr. Trump's reluctance to fire his national security advisor is more of a matter of him wanting to avoid bad publicity than a sign of confidence in Mr. Waltz. Mr. Trump has made clear to his staff that he does not want to give the media the satisfaction of seeing Mr. Waltz fired. He also does not want to start the cycle of firing top officials that plagued his first term. I mean, whatever, dude. They should have said that Loomer was seated under the desk. To some in the government, the firings have felt arbitrary. Most, if not all, the officials who have been targeted by Ms. Loomer were put through personal vetting process run by the Trump administration. The fact that Ms. Loomer met with the president in Oval Office was first reported by the newsletter Status, but the details of that was not of what was discussed was not revealed. It was not clear how she was invited to such a sensitive meeting with the president, a longtime supporter of Trump who has frequently spoken of her desire to work with him. Ms. Loomer served as one of Trump's most vicious online enforcers during the 2024 campaign. Yeah. I mean, like, this is the person influencing, like, national security firings. Okay. Ms. Loomer said that the White House will smell like curry if Kamala Harris was elected, a jab at her Indian heritage during the Republican primary campaign, in which she served as Mr. Trump's attack dog against DeSantis, Governor DeSantis of Florida. Ms. Loomer floated the baseless notion that Mr. DeSantis' wife, Casey, had lied about having breast cancer. Just a fantastic character. I have friends that come home in boxes because of intelligence leaks. It's super important to me. Mr. Trump's distanced himself from Loomer in the campaign's final stretch after he invited her on her plane to travel to a series of events commemorating September 11, which caused an outcry because of her conspiratorial views about the attacks. Still, Ms. Loomer had remained in contact with some of Mr. Trump's aides and for the most part fiercely defended the president while blitzing perceived opponents and enemies while searing attacks that she shared with 1.5 million followers on Twitter. She has complained in recent weeks that she has not received an invitation to sit in the, quote, new media seat at the White House press briefings despite having applied unsuccessfully for a press pass. Yeah, I still think that, like, I still think that the majority of reports should try to apply for a press pass on that. Can you imagine having, like, Emma being able to ask a question? Oof. I love curry, and that's such a garbage thing to say about Harris. True. Mr. Trump has spoken. Her visit with the White House this week seems to signal a return to good graces for Ms. Loomer, who in recent weeks launched a string of social media attacks against Trump administration officials, including Mr. Wong, the Deputy National Security Advisor. Mr. Trump has spoken somewhat sympathetically about Mr. Wong in some of his private conversations with advisors, but Mrs. Loomer, in posts on Twitter, questioned Mr. Wong's loyalty to the administration because of his wife Candace, who had worked at the Justice Department during the Biden and Obama administration. Ms. Wong, also a career prosecutor and Justice Department official during Trump's first term, and a clerk for Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Sure. So I guess, like, that's why Mr. Wong needs to go. Ms. Loomer has referred to Ms. Wong, whose father is of Taiwanese descent and worked for what was a British-owned satellite-making company based in Hong Kong, as a, quote, Chinese woman. She's not. And alleged that the family was part of a conspiracy. She speculated that Mr. Wong was responsible for adding Mr. Goldberg to the Signal chat on purpose as part of a foreign op to embarrass Trump on behalf of China. Yeah. I mean, like, just, like, straight up a racist. That's why she targeted this guy. 100%. Did I miss the racist part just now? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, right? Like, Asian person, racist. They have they have an Asian, they are of Asian descent, so therefore, I don't know, Chinese Communist Party spy, whatever. Asian American is a preferred nomenclature. Yep. Eager, thank you so much for the 400 biddies. I appreciate it. Yeah, you can just toss it in the Discord or toss it in the whispers. Last week, Ms. Loomer signaled out an assistant U.S. attorney for Los Angeles, Adam Schleiter, who was unsuccessfully run for Congress as a Democrat in 2020. Less than 2 hours after she called him a Trump hater, who should be fired on social media, Mr. Schleifer was terminated. Cool. Since then, she had publicly called for the dismissal of Maria Prostiu, a Deputy Assistant Director of the Navy, Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Ivan Kanapathy, the National Security Council Director for Asia, America Lieb, the mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, who is Mr. Trump's nominee for the ambassador of Kuwait, Katrina Forovat, the head of the State Department's Office of Global Women's Issues. In at least one case, Ms. Loomer tagged Mr. Gore, the White House's head of personnel. In addition, Mr. Loomer said the LGBTQ liaison at the Veterans Affairs Department Center for Minority Veterans should be fired, as well as an unidentified staff member working at NSC's intelligence office who she said she was transgender and hates President Trump. Yeah. Is this real? Loomer's 31, by the way, younger than me. Yeah, she's younger than me, too. Is this real? Yeah, domestic terrorism, but done with a feminine touch. Is the picture on the left her for real? She looked better before the surgery. Yeah, I agree. Wow. It's amazing what being a hateful Nazi can do to you, huh? I guarantee you it's real. So I've been sad for someone my age. Yeah, younger. I'm allegedly older than her. That's her. She's Jewish, and she's had issues with that, apparently. Really? Wow. If you're aware of this person and have their name, please send it to me, and I will post their identity as... Hey, I thought doxing was, against Twitter rules, but okay. The American people deserve to know who this trans Biden holdover is that is embedded in our intel community. Last month, she started her own research and vetting firm called Loomer Strategies. She said would provide high-level opposition research for hire. The term refers to what she and others called getting loomered. I thought that was a joke, but it's not. I thought that was okay. which is when she targets someone either in an ambush-style interview or online. She's also tried to dig up dirt on officials from outside the administration, either because they have gotten in Mr. Trump's way or because she questions their loyalty. In recent weeks, she has claimed 2 federal judges who've issued rulings blocking Trump's efforts to deport non-citizens were compromised because of the activities of their adult children, ? Yeah, it's only against free speech if it isn't the speech they want. Correct. It is a thing. Yeah, I literally thought you were joking. Michael Astor, I literally thought that was just kind of like an ongoing like joke in the online space. But no, I wasn't. Oh boy. Still, at times she has worked against some people Mr. Trump considers allies, including Musk, whom she criticized a year over support for visas for high-skilled immigrants because, of course, they weren't white. Some of Mr. Trump's far-right allies consider Miss Loomer a useful tool for attacking common enemies, i.e., like producing vehicles for white nationalism. And the president has mostly been admiring Miss Loomer's tactics. Speaking at an event at Mar-a-Lago, he once singled her out in a crowd. You don't want to be Loomered. If you're Loomered, you're in deep trouble. That's the end of your careers, in a sense. Thanks, Laura. Cool. So that's cool. Just like a Nazi walking around, making national security decisions and being recognized and praised by the president. But yeah, cool, nice, very cool. I thought it was a meme too. I genuinely thought it was a meme too. And unironically looking like a drag queen. You don't want to get Loomered. Busted ass lip filler Nazi. It's crazy. It's crazy. I did not know she looked like that. Vance was a drag queen, so maybe. I don't know if it's the glasses, but like, and at 31, you're still young. Yeah, she's very young. I don't know if it's the glasses, but she, maybe it's the glasses and the angle that's hiding. But like what you showed me is just wild. It's 4:19. You got a minute? Oh, it's almost 4:20, I guess, on your end. I mean, we do have exactly a minute. Evil really does make people hideous. True. Has a voice changer on the phone asking, do you want to play a game? Let me tell you about my friend Jesus. 16:20 on Pacific time. Hey, we made it, folks. Also, you're all going to hell. True. We made it. I saw something on Twitter about Mar-a-Lago face. Hey, it's okay. It'll be fun. We'll all be there, right? At this point in time, send me to hell. We're all going there, so I might as we might as well go together. That'll be fun, right? That would be an upgrade over this life. So get lost, Laura. If hell is real, we're doing a meetup. 100%, 100%. Because you best believe we're all gonna be there. Good to see you. Oh my goodness. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. Food's ready. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah, and give you a rip on the bong. That's what's important. That's what's important. That's really why I want to go to hell, right? I'm soon find out if it's real, though. Not sure if I can tell you afterwards, though. That's all good. Join the Discord. Free the weed. Yeah, we're having fish and chips. Ooh, nice. Nice. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you, Bonzilla, for the 21 biddies. Thank you, Eager, for the 400 biddies. Thank you for the new follows. Thank you for the folks on YouTube that have been subscribing and liking the stream. I appreciate it. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for being a viewer. Thank you for hanging out here. I'm just me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the stream, ADT. Thank you, mods in chat. I appreciate you mowing up. Thank you to the YouTube crew. Sammy, appreciate it. Kirkenstein's Monster, thank you. Appreciate it. Ground Level News. Mouselander, thank you for being here. As always, folks, we'll be back on Monday. Okay? Join the Discord, folks. We are trying to get a little movie event together. I'm not sure how we're going to pan it out, but a movie event is coming. Ladybug, thank you. A movie event is coming, folks. It's been a minute and a half. I gotta get on that. So I appreciate you guys. Join the Discord if you want to support the channel. Subscribe to the Substack. Keep doing what you're doing, folks. One of the best ways to support the channel is spreading the word. Bring a friend. We're here Monday through Thursday around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to support the channel directly, feel free to check out the merch store hitting the exclamation mark tip. I appreciate it. Thank you all. I'll be in the voice in the Discord if anyone wants to talk until the girlfriend comes over. Then we got to go to get dinner. Yeah, feel free, folks. I got to get out of here and get food. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, go like the YouTube stream. See ya. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser. Appreciate it. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.